Alright folks, let's go and get down to business here as we have our first concerning storm out in the Atlantic Basin. Now the Atlantic Basin has been very quiet, at least compared to the Pacific Basin, and it's looking like we could be picking up on activity as we head further into August and into the meat and potatoes of hurricane season. You can see we have Tropical Storm Erin churning along, and other than that we have a 10% chance down here just south of Nova Scotia, and we have what they're saying is a 0% chance down here in the Gulf Coast states, which I'm expecting a lot of heavy rainfall and flooding down here in the Gulf Coast because of this disturbance. So let's go and take a look at what's now Tropical Storm Erin, at least the wording anyway. They're saying that although it's still too early to know exactly what impacts Erin might bring to the northern Leeward Islands, Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico, the risk has increased for Erin to move closer to these islands. So definitely monitor this if you're anywhere here in these islands. And why we say that is because you can see it's supposed to turn into a hurricane by Thursday evening. And you can see this transparent cone, and we call this the cone of uncertainty. And why we call it that is because this shows us pretty much that we don't know where it's going to go from here. Now at this point on Friday morning, we do know it's going to make this track, but as we head into the cone of uncertainty, this is where it becomes more uncertain as to where it will go. It can either make a left-hand turn into these islands, or it can continue going where it's going, still impact the Bahamas and cause impacts to the east coast part of the country, or can move towards the north, avoid us altogether, but still impact Bermuda and then turn into a fish storm from there. And that's the best case scenario. Best case scenario, it just turns out here into the Atlantic, avoids Bermuda, avoids the homeland, and avoids these islands altogether, but still uncertain as to where it will go. Now let's go ahead and get into the models here, and we're actually going to take a look at the satellite first. We can see that tropical storm down there churning along. We can see that 10% chance down here in Nova Scotia, and we can see that disturbance down here in the Gulf of America affecting the Gulf Coast states, and I would just expect a whole bunch of flooding from it. And as we take a look at the GFS, I know this is the model that the clickbaiters love to use, so definitely please take this with a grain of salt and beware of fake forecasts on social media. But we're going to take a look at the simulated infrared before we take a look at the most familiar model that y'all are used to, which is the simulated radar. But we can see we have what's now Tropical Storm Erin churning along, going to turn into a hurricane by Thursday, and then by Friday, this is where it's to be determined as to where it will go. It can either make a turn over here into the islands, into the Gulf, and affect the Gulf Coast states. It can continue where it's going and affect Florida, the East Coast, or it can head towards the north, impact Bermuda, and then turn into a fish storm from there. Now, as we rely on the GFS here, head out of the cone of uncertainty here, we can see it's going to be heading towards the north and avoid the homeland. Now, this is the best case scenario, but of course can and will change. Now, let's go and take a look at what you are most familiar with, which is the simulated radar here. Push us forward, of course, where I know the certain track of it from this point, but then we head into the cone of uncertainty by Friday and into Saturday. We can see that the GFS is going to be taking it towards the north, impacting Bermuda, but then after that, it's going to turn into a fish storm and avoid the homeland altogether. So this is the best case scenario, but can and will change, obviously. And before we get into the sea surface temperatures and the Saharan dust, which the Saharan dust suppresses tropical activity, by the way, here's how you can prepare for this upcoming tropical storm. First, you gotta understand forecast information. Please don't buy into fear-mongering. Please don't buy into fake forecasts. Please rely on forecasts from the National Hurricane Center and your local National Weather Service office. Know your alerts and the difference between a watch and a warning. Focus on potential impacts regardless of the storm size or category, and know that deadly hazards occur well outside of the forecast cone. That's what we call the cone of uncertainty. And of course, get moving when a storm threatens. Protect your home, cover windows, secure doors and loose items, determine sheltering options, and consider your pets. Please bring those pets with you if this hurricane impacts you. Ready your go bag, meds and supplies, charge your phone, fill up the car, and charge it if you have one of those electric vehicles. Help your neighbors, especially the elderly and the vulnerable people, and follow evacuation orders if given. And I know there's a whole bunch of new people that have migrated down here to the southeast and are not accustomed to hurricanes, so definitely be monitoring trusted sources out there and get moving when the storm threatens, as you've been monitoring the tropics anyways, because we are in the meat and potatoes of hurricane season. And if you don't know what to do, you gotta know your risk. Of course, you gotta consider your threats: storm surge, flooding from heavy rain, strong winds, tornadoes, and rip currents, because hurricanes can still bring tornadoes. Northeast side hurricanes is called the dirty side for a reason, and that's the side that brings tornadoes. So So be aware of that. Determine if you live in a flood-prone area, especially if you are new down here to the southeast. Find out if you live in an evacuation zone. Identify your home's structural risks. Mobile homes and basements can be especially vulnerable, obviously. And of course, I will be keeping y'all posted on X and Facebook, of course, as this gets closer. So please prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Now, here's a graphic that I shared yesterday on X from Jim Cantori. Average number of days for a tropical cyclone to reach the U.S. Now, it's right around this green and yellow zone here, so it's about 8 to 12 days away from reaching us here, and of course a shorter amount of time here for these islands. So regardless, please be aware of this. Please prepare now just in case this affects you. You can still make a left-hand turn over here into the Gulf, or it can make a direct impact over here towards the east coast of the United States, or even here in Bermuda. So definitely should be monitoring this anyways, because we are in the meat days of hurricane season, so prepare for the worst and hope for the best. Now let's go ahead and take a look at the sea surface temperatures here in the main development region. We can see we're definitely dealing with a powder cake environment here in the Gulf, and very favorable sea surface temperatures here in the main development region. Now this is one mode of many for hurricane development, and there could still be some suppression to that, which is Saharan dust, which we'll get into here in a little bit. But we can see that definitely going to be coming into some very favorable sea surface temperatures as it turns into a hurricane by Thursday evening, and especially on Friday. And this is where it's to be determined as to where it will go. It'll either make a right-hand turn, left-hand turn, or keep going straight. But if it makes a right-hand turn, that's the best case scenario, but can still turn into a major hurricane at this point, as it's going to be coming into some very, very favorable sea surface temperatures. And I've been seeing that it can turn into a category 3 plus hurricane at this point. Canon will change, obviously. Hopefully it doesn't. Hopefully it remains a tropical storm, or at most a category 1 or 2. We can see that it's going to be working over those sea surface temperatures, but it's looking like the sea surface temperatures out there are definitely going to be recovering here in the long term. Still going to be favorable here in the Gulf, and very favorable here in the main development region. Now, one thing that can suppress development, and one of the things I've been looking at here in the long term that can suppress development, is what's called Saharan dust, and I don't think we're going to be seeing much activity here in the long term. And why I'm saying that is because I think Tropical Storm Erin got lucky here, because Saharan dust is going down towards the south. We have Tropical Storm Erin right here, and it's just going to avoid that Saharan dust, which suppresses hurricanes and tropical storms, and that's going to come up here. And it's looking like long term here in the main development region, we're going to have that Saharan dust choking out any sort of development here as we head towards the end of the month. So before we get past Erin, it's looking like it's gonna get back to being quiet out there, because we have this Saharan dust choking off any sort of activity here in the long term. But Canon will change. Keep y'all posted on X and on Facebook. So now that I beat the dead horse on Erin, let's go ahead and take a look at the Pacific Basin, as we don't have hardly anything out there other than Tropical Storm Henriette, which moved just north of the Hawaiian Islands. Still a tropical storm, expected to become a tropical depression by Wednesday afternoon, but other than that, we don't have much out there, luckily. And we're not expecting any sort of activity in the next 7 days, so that's some good news for the folks out there in Hawaii. As you see here on the satellite, we got nothing out there really. We got some activity down here south of the Big Island, and we got Henriette up here just north of the Hawaiian Islands. But other than that, not much going to be happening here in the long term for Hawaii and the Pacific Basin. But as we take a look at the GFS right quick, take a look at the simulated infrared, we can see that not going to have much activity out there for the next couple of weeks. We got some moisture going on here as we head into this weekend, but other than that, it's going to be nice out there here in the long term, so enjoy it. And there's going to be some last minute vacations, because back to school is happening soon, and it's already happened for most of the kiddos. So if you're taking any last minute vacations, looks like it's going to be good to go out here in Hawaii. So enjoy it. Now shifting gears here to what we could expect for the next couple of weeks, and as we take a look at the next 8 to 14 days U.S. hazards outlook from the 19th into the 25th, it's looking like the main story is going to be the heat. Going to be getting hot, which what else is new? We are in summertime, y'all, but fall is right around the corner. We're 41 days away from fall time, y'all, and I will have a fall outlook up probably right around August 20th, at least by the end of the month, but I'll keep y'all posted, of course. So stay tuned for that, y'all. And as we take a look at the lower 48 here for the alerts, we can see we got some heat advisories over here up by Nevada, heat warnings down here in Southern California and into Arizona, and really much of the western part of the country here is in some sort of heat advisory or heat warning. As we click on one of these, and we can see we got the extreme heat warnings and advisories extended through Wednesday. We take a look at the week ahead. You can see today through Wednesday, above normal temperatures expected with extreme heat warnings and advisories in effect. Thursday and Saturday, monsoonal moisture will bring chances of showers and thunderstorms to southeastern Nevada, northeastern Arizona. Dry lightning may start new wildfires, as there has been some wildfires out in California and Arizona, so be aware of that. And it's looking like we could be coming in on some below normal temperatures and sunny skies and dry conditions as we head into Sunday through Monday. So we'll be getting to the monsoon stuff here in a little bit, but first let's go ahead and take a look at the temperatures, as we're going to be coming back into the heat after we came in on a little bit of a cool down here at the beginning of August. As we see here today, we got some very hot temperatures here out west, as heat advisories and heat warnings have already been issued. It's relatively nice here out east compared to out west, but still hot down here on the Gulf Coast. And it's only going to get worse before it gets better. As you can see, we got some 90 to 100 degree temperatures as far north as the Dakotas on Thursday. And it's just going to keep on keeping on, y'all. We are in summertime. We are in the dog days of summer. What else is new? And we head into the 20th time frame. This is when they issued the risk for hazardous temperatures from the 20th through the 25th. We can see 100 degree temperatures going to be sticking around for quite some time. I would say we're going to be coming into a stretch of 100 degree days for about a week or so here in the central and a little bit of the western part of the country as well. And we can see that we're just going to remain hot at least towards the end of the month. And in the last video, I did say that we were going to be coming in on some cool temperatures, and it's looking like we could be coming in on cool temperatures potentially here at the end of the month, and especially as we head into September. But of course, this is well over 300 some hours out. Can and will change. Now, it's not the temperatures you got to worry about. It's that humidity, the dew point. It's the air you can wear pretty much. It's what brings that sweat on and makes it feel oppressive out there. Now, we only deal with that here out east. You won't deal with it much out west because you got that dry, hot air. But this is what brings on that sweatometer and cranks the sweatometer up to 10 pretty much. And we can see we're going to be dealing with that very high humidity all the way through this weekend, and especially as we head into next week. But we're going to be dealing with that dry air out west though, so y'all are missing out on this good old sweaty humidity as we head towards the end of the month. So that sweatometer is going to be cranked up to 10, y'all. Feeling this nasty humidity all the way through the end of this month. And with it being hot, here is how you can prepare for the heat. Make sure to stay hydrated. Obviously, use your common sense. Take breaks in the shade as often as possible. Indoors, check up on the elderly, sick, and those without AC. There's surprisingly people still without AC nowadays. Vehicles, never leave kids or pets unattended. Please make sure you do not leave pets or children in cars. Can't believe we have to say this nowadays. Please just don't leave your pets or kids in the car this time of year. Outdoors, limit strenuous outdoor activities. Find shade and stay hydrated. And do not walk your dogs on the hot asphalt here in the summertime heat. We'll always be like this cat in summertime looking for a cool breeze on a hot day while we're out there melting like this fan during this upcoming heat wave. And last but not least, another difference between heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Heat exhaustion is dizziness and fainting, excessive sweating, headache, rapid weak pulse, general weakness, cold, clammy skin, nausea and vomiting, dark colored urine. Heat stroke is slurred speech, loss of consciousness, seizures, rapid strong pulse, raising heartbeat, hot dry skin, body temperature above 103, and a headache. So prepare for the heat, y'all. It's going to be sticking around for the next couple of weeks, but we are going to get some relief as we head towards the end of the month, beginning of September, but can and will change. And as we take a look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook by the Climate Prediction Center from the 17th all the way into the 21st, we don't need the Climate Prediction Center to tell us it's going to be hot as we head towards the end of the month, because it is. You can see most of the country is coming in on above normal to near normal temperatures. Next 8 to 14 days, really much of the same story, but it's looking like the Ohio Valley, Midwest, and Northeast is going to be coming in on near normal to below normal temperatures, as we could be potentially coming in on a cool down here at the end of the month. So stay tuned, y'all, because this second summer could be coming close to an end sooner than you know. So we just got to get past the next couple of weeks, and I think at the end of the month we're going to be coming in on some relief again and remain cool as we head into September, but can and will change, obviously. Now on to the precipitation outlook of what we could expect for the next couple of weeks. There is no hazards posted for risk for heavy precipitation for the next couple of weeks, so that's some good news. So let's go ahead and get into the 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook for the next couple of weeks. See below normal precipitation here out by Nevada, California, Utah, and Idaho. Not good for wildfire conditions out there, but for the rest of the country, it's looking to be above average to near normal. Next 8 to 14 days, looking like we're going to start to dry out here in the Midwest, from Oklahoma all the way up into parts of the Northeast, as well as up here in the Northwest, looking like the Southeast. And from California and Arizona all the way up into Dakotas and Montana, it's going to be above average. Now, before we get into this simulator radar, it's going to take a look at something we haven't taken a look at in a very long time, which is the 500 millibar height anomaly map. This shows us our troughs and ridges. The troughs are usually associated with bad weather in most cases and cool weather, while a ridge is here in the orange, is associated with drier and warmer weather in most cases. We can see here in the short term, we're coming into a little bit of a trough, cooling down here out east, while we're going to be dealing with some very hot conditions out west. And it's going to change as we head into the weekend. We're going to be coming into a major ridging pattern, hot amongst much of the country and dry. But then as we head into and past this weekend, we're going to be dealing with what could be called a heat dome, but don't expect this to last though, as we're going to be dealing with a trough rolling through and potentially dropping those temperatures down as we head into the end of the month. You can see a trough rolling in here in the northwest, which could bring severe weather here in the north central part of the country. And let's get into that, by the way. We can see today we got a lot of precipitation here out east, mainly because we got a disturbance down here in the Gulf Coast, bringing a lot of tropical moisture to us out east. And that's expected to go away as we head into the weekend. Potential severe weather and spotty thunderstorms here up here in Minnesota and Wisconsin. A lot of heavy rainfall down here in the southwest because we are coming into monsoon season. Heavy rainfall up here in the northwest as well. And we got Erin moving through. It's going to be bringing some moisture here amongst much of the lower 48, especially over here in the southeast. And the further we go out, the more uncertainty there is. What we can see, there's going to be a lot of rainfall here out east as we head towards the 21st time frame. And of course, the GFS loves to print tropical storms and hurricanes this far out. You can see the Pacific is showing a system out there. This probably won't happen. Can will change though, but please be aware this might not even happen. And really a typical summertime weather pattern as we head into the middle and end of the month, as we're going to be coming in on spotty thunderstorms here out east. The more we go out, the more uncertainty there is. But basically what I'm expecting here is short term, we're going to be very, very wet here out east and dry out west. But then as we head into the middle and end of the month, spotty showers in most areas, and some areas going to be dry, but on average, I would expect the country to start drying out as we head into the middle, and especially the end of the month. So in summary, basically, it's going to be hot for the next couple of weeks here amongst the lower 48. So be prepared for that. But relief is on the way as we head towards the end of the month, and especially as we head into September. See, we are getting close to fall, y'all. As far as precipitation goes, there is no risk for hazardous precipitation, but we are going to be coming in on above normal to near normal precipitation for much of the country unless you live out west in the short term. But in the long term, we are definitely going to be drying out. Typical August weather pattern, as we are going to be heading out of a soggy pattern into a dry pattern. But over here in the southwest, you are heading into monsoon season, so please be aware of that. And last but certainly not least, we got to keep an eye on what's now Tropical Storm Erin, as that is expected to turn into a hurricane as we head into Thursday evening, but still to be determined where it goes once we get into Friday evening, and especially as we head into this weekend, as it can still continue on towards the west and impact Florida, or it can make a southern turn into the islands and into the Gulf Coast. Or, best case scenario, it can make a northern turn, avoid Bermuda, and remain a fifth storm. So, I hope each and every one of y'all enjoyed today's video. If you did, please make sure you like and share the video so more folks are informed about the weather. Leave me some feedback in the comment section down below, as any feedback helps provide you, the viewer, better and more informative content in the future. And also, don't forget to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, because here at Orange Weather, we try to make weather forecasting fun and informative. And also, go follow me on X and Facebook, as you may have noticed on Mondays, and even on Sundays, if I don't forget on Sundays, I typically post what we could expect for the week as far as what astronomical events that could occur, what to expect for the week ahead, and some historical weather events that impacted wartime events and really significant past weather events as well. So make sure you go follow those pages. It's very fascinating stuff. So again, like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate each and every one of y'all for watching. Stay cool, as it's looking like it's going to be hot for the next couple weeks, but some relief is on the way. And be aware of Erin as it moves closer to the homeland. I'll keep y'all posted, by the way. And as always, until next time, never stop forecasting.